Success doesn't come from chasing someone else's timeline. It comes from showing up consistently on your own path with clarity, discipline, and intention. The more energy you give to other people's lives, the less you have for your own. That constant comparison becomes a distraction, pulling your thoughts in every direction, leaving you scattered, uncertain, and exhausted. But when you focus inward, when you reclaim the throne of your own mind, everything begins to change. You shift from reacting to life to creating it. Imagine standing at the center of your universe. Everything you want to become, everything you want to achieve, begins from that center point. Your thoughts, your vision, your self-belief. When you operate from that space, you stop seeking permission. You stop needing validation. You begin to see your path clearly, even if others don't. Great achievers like Andrew Carnegie didn't become successful by measuring themselves against others. He didn't ask whether someone else was more educated or better connected. He asked, what can I build with what I have right now? And that question shifted everything. It forced him to go inward, to master his thoughts, to become laser-focused on his own goals. That same choice is available to you. You must stop looking sideways. Your neighbor's promotion, your friend's accolades, your colleague's lifestyle, none of that determines your worth. None of it defines your potential. The only thing that truly matters is the vision you hold for yourself and the action you take toward it. Every time you compare, you dilute that vision. You scatter your energy. You slow your progress. But when you commit to your path with blinders on, you begin to move with purpose. True clarity comes from silence. When you shut out the noise of the outside world, you can finally hear your inner voice. That voice knows what you want. That voice remembers the goals you've hidden under layers of doubt and distraction. Listen to it, honor it, and then act on it. You're not here to live someone else's dream. You're here to awaken your own. Let go of the need to measure yourself by someone else's yardstick. Set your own standard. Build your own lane. Trust that your journey, no matter how different or delayed it seems, is exactly what it needs to be. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs your authenticity, your focus, your commitment to growth. So focus inward, build quietly, evolve relentlessly, and let your success speak not in comparison, but in your transformation. Every meaningful achievement begins with one unshakable truth: belief in oneself. It's not arrogance, it's not ego. It's the deep conviction that your ideas, your efforts, and your goals are worth pursuing, no matter how many people say otherwise. History has shown us repeatedly that the most successful individuals did not wait for the world to believe in them. They started by believing in themselves. That was their foundation, their anchor, when nothing else was certain. Take Thomas Edison, for example. He failed over 10,000 times before he finally succeeded in inventing the electric light bulb. Imagine the persistence that kind of belief requires. He didn't see failure as defeat. He saw it as feedback, a necessary part of the process. Most people would have given up after 10 failed attempts. Edison believed in his vision so deeply that he kept going, even when the world offered no guarantee that his efforts would pay off. That's what self-belief does. It gives you stamina when others quit. It gives you clarity when the path ahead is foggy. When you have faith in yourself, you don't need external approval. You don't need someone else to tell you you're good enough. You decide that for yourself. You build that strength from within. And once it's built, no outside doubt can tear it down. But make no mistake, belief is a choice. It doesn't just arrive one day. You don't wake up magically confident. You have to decide to believe in yourself again and again, especially when circumstances try to shake you. It's in the tough times, the silent nights, the lonely moments when no one claps for you, that your belief must speak the loudest. It has to be louder than fear, louder than failure, louder than doubt. And here's the secret. The world starts to reflect what you believe internally. When you walk with confidence, you attract opportunities. When you speak with conviction, people listen. When you act like someone who expects to win, you begin to win. But it all begins within. Self-belief is not just a motivational phrase, it's a strategic asset. It's the engine behind action. Because belief without action is a dream, and action without belief is fragile. But belief backed by consistent, deliberate effort, that's where transformation happens. Even the greatest vision in the world is useless if you don't believe you're the one to carry it out. You might have the talent, the ideas, even the resources, but without the confidence to take the leap, they remain locked inside you, untapped and unused. So ask yourself today, do you believe you are capable of more? Do you believe your voice, your work, your life matters? If the answer is yes, then prove it. Not by shouting it, but by showing up, by taking action, by making decisions with confidence. Speak, walk, and lead as someone who knows their worth. Not in a loud way, but in a grounded, unshakable way. Because in the end, belief is what carries you through the storm, through the silence, and into the success that others never saw coming, but you did. There comes a moment in every person's life when they must make a choice, either to live by someone else's expectations or to lead their life from within. True purpose doesn't come from titles, wealth, or the approval of others. It comes from clarity within. When you recognize that you are the center of your own universe, life starts to shift. Direction forms, energy aligns, the noise fades, and suddenly your vision becomes the compass. You were not born to follow someone else's blueprint. You were born to create your own. That truth is not just empowering, it's necessary. Because when you don't take the lead in your own life, the world will pull you in 1,000 directions. One day you'll chase one dream, the next, you'll follow another person's definition of success. You'll drift, not because you lack potential, but because you haven't claimed ownership of your direction. Look at the greats in history, those who shaped the world, not because they fit in, but because they stood firmly in who they were. Andrew Carnegie was born into poverty. No education, no connections. And yet, he became one of the most influential industrialists in American history. How? He didn't let his environment dictate his future. He didn't measure his progress by the success of others. He focused inward. He defined his own vision, and he moved with relentless purpose. That same power exists within you. You don't need permission. You don't need the perfect moment. You simply need to decide. Decide that your goals, your passions, and your values matter, and they matter enough to guide your every step. The moment you do that, something incredible happens. Life stops happening to you and starts responding to you. You become the architect, not the observer, the driver, not the passenger. This doesn't mean your journey will be easy. In fact, following your own vision often means facing resistance, people who don't understand, moments of doubt, and setbacks along the way. But those are the markers of a path worth traveling. When your purpose comes from within, you no longer bend to temporary discouragement. You become resilient because your drive is internal, not dependent on external applause. And here's what makes it truly powerful. Once you commit to your purpose, you begin to attract the right people, the right opportunities, and the right moments. The world starts to meet your energy, not because it suddenly becomes easier, but because you've become clearer. You've removed the distractions. You've silenced the need for comparison. You've chosen a path that is uniquely yours. Ask yourself today, not what the world expects of you, but what you expect of you. What dream do you carry that refuses to go away? What vision keeps resurfacing no matter how much you push it aside? That is your calling. That is the work only you can do. So stand tall. Claim your vision. You don't need to shout it from rooftops. Just live it, step by step. Let your clarity be louder than your doubts. Let your purpose be bigger than your fear. Because the moment you declare yourself the master of your fate, life takes notice, and slowly but surely, it begins to align with your deepest truth. You are the center of your universe. Build your life from there. Most people view failure as the end of the road. But for the truly successful, the visionaries, inventors, and leaders who've changed the course of history, failure is never final. It's simply feedback. It's the world's way of asking, how badly do you want this? And those who achieve greatness answer not with retreat, but with resolve. Thomas Edison, one of the greatest inventors of all time, failed over 10,000 times before he succeeded in creating the electric light bulb. Where most would have given up, Edison kept experimenting, adjusting, and learning. When asked about his failures, he famously replied, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That mindset is what separates the average from the exceptional. He didn't see failure as rejection, he saw it as redirection. Abraham Lincoln, before becoming one of the most respected presidents in U.S. history, endured years of political defeats, business failures, and personal losses. By every conventional measure, he had more reason to quit than to continue. And yet, he refused to let setbacks define him. He persisted, he adapted, and eventually, he led the nation through its greatest internal crisis, the Civil War, becoming a symbol of resilience and hope for generations to come. These stories aren't just inspiring, they're instructive. They remind us that failure isn't proof that we're not good enough. It's proof that we're in the game, that we're daring to push limits, that we're pursuing something worth fighting for. In fact, if you've never failed, chances are you've never truly tried. Resilience, the grit to keep moving when things get tough, isn't a gift. It's a muscle. And like any muscle, it grows through challenge, through repetition, through choosing not to quit even when every part of you wants to. The greatest achievements in life are often built on a foundation of repeated setbacks. But here's the secret. Every time you get back up, you get stronger. Every obstacle you overcome adds to your character. Every delay, every rejection, every painful lesson, it all becomes part of the story you'll one day be proud to tell. And more importantly, it prepares you for what's ahead. Because real success requires stamina. It demands the ability to take punches and keep moving forward. So the next time you fall short, shift your perspective. Don't ask, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this here to teach me? What can you learn? What can you refine? What can you do differently? The answers to those questions will become the stepping stones that move you forward. Don't let temporary failure lead to permanent defeat. Let it fuel your growth. Let it shape your resilience. Because the truth is, the path to greatness isn't straight or smooth. It's messy. It's painful. It's uncertain. But it's also worth it. You don't have to succeed immediately. You just have to refuse to quit. And if you keep showing up day after day, fall after fall, you'll eventually rise higher than you ever imagined. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. Embrace it, learn from it, and keep moving. Success rarely arrives by accident. It is not a product of chance, but of clarity. The people who reach their goals, build lasting legacies, and change the world all have one thing in common. They know exactly what they're working toward. Vague dreams lead to vague results, but clear goals act as a compass, guiding every decision, every effort, and every step forward. Imagine setting out on a cross-country road trip without a map or destination. You might move, but you'd likely waste gas, time, and energy, drifting from one place to the next without ever truly arriving. The same happens in life. Without clear direction, even your hardest work can feel scattered and unproductive. You may stay busy, but busyness is not the same as progress. It's clarity that creates true momentum. Walt Disney, a man whose imagination built an empire, once said, "If you can dream it, you can do it." But what he didn't say, though he lived it, was that dreams alone are not enough. Disney faced dozens of rejections before building his first theme park, and yet he remained unwavering in his vision. He saw it clearly in his mind before it existed in reality. And that crystal clear vision fueled years of relentless action. He wasn't guessing where he was going, he knew. Clarity gives your life structure. It transforms a wish into a plan, and a plan into results. When you write down a goal, make it specific, measurable, and time-bound. Don't just say, I want to be successful. Ask yourself, what does success look like? Is it building a thriving business, retiring with financial security, writing a book, running a marathon? The more clearly you define it, the more power it holds. Studies have shown that people who write down their goals are significantly more likely to achieve them. Why? Because a written goal becomes real. It becomes a commitment, not just an idea floating in your head, but a blueprint to act upon. When you review your goals daily, they stay top of mind, filtering your focus. Distractions fade, and priorities come into sharper view. Think of clarity as a spotlight. It narrows your attention to what truly matters. It helps you say no to the unnecessary and yes to the essential. And over time, that laser-like focus compounds into extraordinary results. But clarity is not a one-time decision. It's a daily discipline. Life will try to pull you in 100 directions. People will have opinions. Circumstances will shift. Doubts will creep in. That's why you must return to your vision regularly, refining it, reinforcing it, and realigning your actions accordingly. When you wake up each morning, ask yourself, what am I building? Where do I want to be 1 year from now? 5 years? What step can I take today to move closer? That clarity of purpose will drive you forward, even when motivation fades. It will help you make faster decisions, bounce back from setbacks, and maintain your confidence in uncertain times. So don't settle for vague ambitions. Be bold in defining your vision. Write it down. Speak it aloud. Picture it clearly. Because when your destination is clear, your direction becomes natural. And when you move with direction, success stops being a question. It becomes a matter of time. Resilience isn't built in comfort. It's forged in fire. The strongest individuals throughout history are not those who avoided hardship, but those who met it head-on and refused to let it break them. They understood that adversity isn't the end of the road. It's the training ground where strength, character, and purpose are shaped. Think about Abraham Lincoln. Before becoming one of the most revered presidents in American history, he faced overwhelming personal and professional setbacks, losses in business, repeated election defeats, and the death of loved ones. But Lincoln didn't quit. He didn't see failure as final. He saw it as feedback, as a challenge to rise stronger. His story is not one of smooth sailing. It's a testament to the power of unwavering persistence. That same principle applies to all of us. Life is unpredictable. There will be times when everything feels like it's falling apart. Plans will crumble. People will disappoint. Circumstances will shift. And in those moments, you have a choice: to retreat or to rise. Resilience is the decision to rise. Adversity, while painful, is not your enemy. In fact, it can become your greatest ally. It pushes you out of your comfort zone, challenges your assumptions, and forces you to discover what you're truly made of. Resilience is built when you continue moving forward, even when the road is steep and the outcome is uncertain. The beauty of resilience is that it doesn't just help you survive, it helps you grow. Every setback carries within it a lesson. Every struggle contains the seeds of personal development. The pain you endure today becomes the strength you draw from tomorrow. Just like a muscle that only grows when it's challenged, your spirit becomes stronger the more it is tested. Resilience also builds character. It teaches humility, patience, and emotional strength. When you've weathered life's storms, you become more grounded. You gain empathy for others, wisdom in your choices, and a deeper appreciation for the things that truly matter. You learn to let go of what you can't control and focus on what you can, your attitude, your effort, and your commitment to keep going. But let's be clear. Resilience doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It doesn't mean ignoring pain or bottling up emotions. It means facing life honestly, processing the pain, and choosing to keep moving anyway. It means refusing to let setbacks define you. Instead, you use them to refine you. To cultivate resilience, start with a simple commitment. Don't quit. No matter how hard it gets, promise yourself that you will rise again. Take setbacks as temporary, not permanent. See obstacles not as signs to stop, but as opportunities to grow. And remember that each challenge you overcome adds to the foundation of your strength. In time, you'll begin to notice something powerful. The same things that once threatened to break you now inspire you. You'll find courage you never knew you had. You'll become more confident in your ability to handle whatever comes next. And most importantly, you'll develop a sense of purpose, not in spite of your struggles, but because of them. So, when life knocks you down, stand back up. When the path gets rough, keep walking. Let resilience become your legacy, not just surviving, but thriving through it all. Because in the end, it's not the easy road that shapes greatness. It's the road that demands your strength. In a world that's constantly evolving, the only way to stay relevant and ahead is to keep learning. Continuous learning isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. No matter your age, background, or accomplishments, the truth remains. Growth doesn't stop, and neither should you. Many of the most influential figures in history, from Henry Ford to Eleanor Roosevelt, achieved greatness, not just because they had good ideas, but because they were relentless in their pursuit of new knowledge. They asked questions, challenged the status quo, and embraced change instead of resisting it. They knew what too many forget. The moment you believe you've learned enough is the moment you begin to fall behind. Today's world moves faster than ever. Technology shifts, industries transform, and the skills of yesterday often don't meet the demands of tomorrow. If you want to thrive, not just survive, you must remain a student of life. Whether you're 25 or 75, curiosity is your greatest tool. Learning doesn't always mean formal education. It means reading books that stretch your thinking. It means asking deeper questions in conversations. It means studying people who've gone where you want to go. It's about watching the world closely and staying open to new ideas, even if they challenge your current beliefs. And adaptability is the key. Life doesn't ask if you're ready to change. It just changes. People who succeed are not necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They are the ones who adapt. They pivot when plans fall apart. They evolve when their environment shifts. They understand that staying rigid is a recipe for irrelevance. Henry Ford is a perfect example. He didn't just invent a better car. He invented a better way to build it. And once he saw the need to improve, he didn't cling to outdated methods. He adapted, studied, tested, and transformed the world. That mindset of constant improvement is what made him a pioneer. For your own life, this means being intentional about growth. Set time aside to read, even if it's just 10 pages a day. Listen to podcasts that challenge your thinking. Have conversations with people who see the world differently than you do. Most importantly, act on what you learn. Knowledge without application is just trivia. You must also be willing to unlearn. Sometimes the beliefs, habits, or routines that once helped you can start to hold you back. Growth requires the humility to admit when it's time to let go and the courage to build something new in its place. Comfort is the enemy of progress. It whispers that you've done enough. It convinces you that what worked yesterday will always work. But the truth is, if you're not learning, you're falling behind. And if you want a fulfilling life, one full of meaning, purpose, and contribution, you must commit to lifelong learning. It doesn't matter where you start. It only matters that you begin. Embrace every moment as a chance to grow. Seek wisdom from those who've walked the path before you. But don't stop there. Pass it on. Share what you learn. Teach others. When you learn, you grow. When you teach, you lead. So, make a decision today. Be the kind of person who never stops evolving. Let your curiosity lead you. Let your adaptability empower you. And let your hunger to grow become the very thing that sets you apart. Because in the end, those who keep learning are the ones who keep leading. And the world will always make room for those who choose to never stop becoming more. Passion is not just a feeling, it's fuel. It's the fire that makes early mornings easier and long nights worth it. When your work is powered by true passion, the path ahead becomes less about obligation and more about inspiration. You don't just push through difficulty, you rise because of it. Passion turns resistance into a reason to grow. Think of the people who've left a lasting impact on this world. Whether it's Helen Keller, who overcame unimaginable odds to become a symbol of courage, or entrepreneurs who built global empires from a simple idea, they all had one thing in common: an unshakable passion for their purpose. Helen didn't succeed because life was easy. She succeeded because her passion for communication and contribution was stronger than any limitation. When you discover what lights you up inside, everything changes. Tasks that once felt draining now carry meaning. You stop counting hours and start counting progress. You stop needing motivation from the outside because you're pulled forward from within. Passion breathes life into your goals. It gives them color, texture, and power. But passion isn't something that always shows up overnight. Sometimes it whispers. Other times, it hides beneath years of routine or buried beneath fear. That's why you have to explore. Try things. Be willing to fail. Pay attention to what excites you, what you lose track of time doing, what you do even if no one ever noticed or paid you for it. That's your passion knocking. Once you find it, protect it. Passion is sensitive. It can be buried under criticism, drowned out by self-doubt, or overlooked in the hustle of everyday life. But when you guard it and give it space to grow, it becomes unstoppable. It gives your life direction. It becomes your compass, especially when the path isn't clear. Passion also brings resilience. When others quit, passion helps you persist. When challenges arise, and they always will, your passion reframes them, not as reasons to stop, but as invitations to rise higher. It turns the roadblocks of life into stepping stones. Purpose without passion can become duty, but purpose fueled by passion becomes destiny. That's why it's worth the time to find it, and worth the effort to follow it. So ask yourself, what excites you? What fills you with energy, even when it's hard? What would you fight for, even if no one else stood with you? Whatever your answer is, follow it. Because when you work from passion, you don't just create success, you create significance. Your thoughts are not passive, they are active, creative forces shaping the life you live. Every belief you hold, every story you repeat to yourself, becomes a blueprint for your behavior, and ultimately, for your reality. This is the core truth behind the power of positive thinking. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing strength, choosing possibility, even when the odds are stacked against you. People often underestimate just how influential their mindset is. But think of it this way. If you walk into every situation expecting failure, you begin looking for evidence to support that belief. You become hesitant, doubtful, and withdrawn. But if you shift that thinking, if you begin expecting success, even if it hasn't shown up yet, you begin acting with greater courage, taking smarter risks, and staying open to opportunity. Your thoughts create the conditions in which your future either flourishes or fades. Norman Vincent Peale, author of The Power of Positive Thinking, didn't write his ideas from a place of naivety. He understood struggle. He knew that optimism was a discipline, not a fantasy. And the science now backs it. Positive thinking improves problem solving, strengthens resilience, and reduces stress. It allows your mind to stay flexible during adversity and focused during uncertainty. This doesn't mean you ignore problems. Life throws curveballs, no matter how optimistic you are. But a positive thinker asks, what can I learn from this? Instead of, why does this always happen to me? The shift is small but powerful. It reclaims agency and turns setbacks into stepping stones. To truly harness this power, you must become intentional with your mental habits. Begin your mornings not with anxiety or negativity, but with purpose. Speak affirmations out loud. I am strong. I am capable. I create value. It might feel strange at first, but repetition programs your subconscious. Just as negative thoughts create limitations, positive thoughts create openings. Surround yourself with people, books, and media that uplift you. Your environment affects your mind more than you think. If you spend your days around complaining, pessimism, or fear-driven thinking, it will seep into your worldview. But if you spend time around inspiration, encouragement, and examples of what's possible, your mind will begin to adopt those same patterns. And when negative thoughts do arise, as they inevitably will, don't ignore them. Acknowledge them, challenge them, and replace them. Tell yourself, this doubt is just a voice from my past. It's not who I am now. Take back control of your inner dialogue. Because here's the truth. The most successful people aren't those who never faced obstacles. They're the ones who kept believing, even when no one else did. They believed in their vision, in their ability, in the possibility of something greater. And that belief became fuel, pushing them forward when others gave up. You have that power too. You can build a mindset that's bulletproof. A mindset that says, I don't care how long it takes. I know I'll get there. When you think this way consistently, the world begins to shift in your favor. Not magically, but practically. You become more focused, more determined, more courageous. And that's when opportunity begins to knock. So choose your thoughts wisely. Think with intention. Think with strength. And let your mind become the most powerful tool you own on your path to a better life. You can read every book, watch every motivational video, and dream of a better life every single day. But until you take action, none of it matters. Knowledge without execution is just potential energy. Dreams without steps remain fantasies. If there's one truth that every successful person understands, it's this. Nothing happens until you move. Now, decisive action is the bridge between where you are and where you want to go. It's the moment when intention becomes reality. And more importantly, it's not about making perfect choices. It's about making consistent ones. Far too many people wait. They wait for the right time, for the perfect plan, for a sign. But success doesn't wait for perfection. It shows up for those who act, especially when the path is unclear. Look at the people who shaped history. Amelia Earhart didn't wait for the world to approve of women flying airplanes. She stepped into the cockpit. She acted. Henry Ford didn't wait until someone handed him permission to revolutionize the automobile industry. He built, failed, rebuilt, and kept moving forward. What made them extraordinary wasn't that they knew exactly how things would work out. It was that they refused to sit still. You may not feel ready. That's normal. Action doesn't come from certainty. It creates it. When you take a step, even a small one, you gain feedback. You learn what works and what doesn't. You gain momentum. That first call, that first draft, that first walk toward a goal, it all counts. In fact, motion is often more powerful than motivation, because waiting to feel inspired is unreliable. But taking action creates the very spark that keeps you going. Think about your own life. How many opportunities have slipped by because of hesitation? How often has fear of failure kept you from making a move? Every time you delay, doubt grows. But every time you act, confidence grows. You start believing in your ability, not because you're fearless, but because you've proven to yourself that you can show up and follow through. That's how momentum is built. One step leads to another. One success, even a small one, creates belief. And that belief fuels even bolder action. Before long, You've built a rhythm, a standard, a habit of execution. That's when doors start opening. Not because luck showed up, but because your consistency did. But let's be clear, decisive action doesn't mean recklessness. It means clarity in motion. It means making the best decision you can with the information you have and moving forward, even if you have to adjust along the way. Don't wait for all the lights to turn green before you leave the driveway. Just start. You'll figure out the rest as you go. Remember, the world rewards the doers, not the thinkers. Planning is important. Learning is valuable. But action is the only thing that creates results. So, if you've been sitting on an idea, a dream, a goal, it's time, not tomorrow, not when things settle down. Now take the step, make the call, start the project. Because the moment you act, the moment you commit, the universe responds. Momentum kicks in, energy returns, clarity sharpens. And slowly but surely, your life begins to change. Not through wishful thinking, but through deliberate, consistent action. So be bold, be decisive, move forward. That's how success finds you. Not in hesitation, but in movement. In life, especially as we grow older, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparing ourselves to others or doubting whether it's too late to make meaningful changes. But the truth is, success at any stage begins from within. It starts with belief, believing that your experiences, your values, and your dreams still matter. The most powerful shift you can make is to focus inward, define what truly fulfills you, and take small, consistent steps toward that vision. Whether it's learning a new skill, starting a passion project, or simply regaining control over your mindset, action fuels progress. Don't wait for permission, the perfect moment, or outside validation. You are the author of your next chapter. With clarity of purpose, resilience through life's setbacks, and a refusal to let fear dictate your path, you can still build a legacy you're proud of. Remember, in American culture, we deeply value perseverance, self-reliance, and personal growth. Principles that don't expire with age. Whether you're 55 or 75, the power to change your life lies not in the years ahead, but in the decisions you make today. Take that step. You've still got plenty of miles left in your journey, and they can be the most meaningful yet.